Alrighty. Another episode live from the Grove. I got my boy Gol D Rich right here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming through. I know
Of course. Thank you for having
interview.
me.
This one was long overdue. I think I promised this shit almost 2 months ago, but we finally got around to it.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That's
sir.
good.
I love
Excited.
that when I DM'd you, you had questions of your own that you were ready to go. So that showed me that you were ready to be here, and I'm excited to have this conversation. So
Same here.
where I wanted to start off is how did you get into making music, right? And then also if you can coincide that with how long you've been making music.
Okay. Well, for starters, I think I was always into music, but I got introduced to rapping per se from my cousins about at the age of 9.
Okay.
You know, from Texas, they used to freestyle a lot. And I had my own freestyle. It was pretty trash because it was my first, time rapping. But over time, went back to California, started hanging around other people who like to freestyle. So I started doing that more. And then high school came around, started, posting on SoundCloud a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I guess high school, so about 7 years ago, I started making music.
Yeah.
And then
what were you recording off of at the time? Because you say you were posting on SoundCloud.
Yeah. Oh, I was recording off my phone. Yeah, I didn't have a one of these mics, but I would record off of my phone, and then I would take the audio onto a computer, what is it called, GarageBand.
Yeah.
And then I would try to edit it from there and see what I could do. But mostly I just freestyled and then just posted it. Didn't really care about how it came out.
Yeah, no, I think that's how we all started. Was just all right, fuck it, let's get the music out.
Yeah, show them the bars I got. Yeah.
Shit. And as time goes on, we'll get better. But during those times when you had homies that were freestyling and stuff, you had mentioned earlier that you were already into music. Were you playing any instruments at the time? Because you said they kind of got you into rapping. Were you doing anything else?
Yeah. So the very first instrument that I got fond of was drumming. Drums. I loved making a beat, just having that beat, because I feel like that's what carries a beat. You know what I mean? From any type of drum snare, drum sound, you could create an entire discography of music.
Yeah.
From just different samples of that. And then so I always wanted to have that with me so that I could be able to make that music, you know what I mean? When I hear a beat and then I'm rapping on the beat, then I feel it more because I always had that drumming aspect in me. So I always feel that.
No, that is interesting because I got a lot of homies that either were in band or pretty much a lot of people that were in band, and then when they started going into recording music, the way they look at the whole process is totally different. Having an understanding of percussion or playing the piano, smooth transition into hip hop.
Right.
So with that said, do you make beats as well, or do you only stick onto the rapping side of things?
Yeah. So there was a time that I did try to make beats, and I realized that it was just simply time consuming for me with a lot of the things that I was already doing back then. And then so I just more so stick to the rapping or melodic beats, listening to them. And then when I feel something, then I'll sit there and make something to that. And then if I like it, I'll go with it. And then if I don't, then it's I'll throw it out.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. As far as your sound, how would you describe that to someone that's never heard you?
I would definitely call my sound unique. Of course, there may be certain artists, not too mainstream, but there are certain artists that people have said that I sounded like, or just gave me that vibe when they heard my music. But for the most part, a lot of people told me my music is unique, and it's I basically consider myself as a multi-genre artist.
Okay.
Because I've done hip hop, I've done trap, I've rapped on a Latin beat, like an Indian style kind of pop beat.
Yeah.
Pop beats in general, hyper pop. So it's like unique.
Very
is
versatile.
Versatile and unique is what I would lead with when I tell people about my music.
So your recording process now, what is that like? As far as, do you freestyle your songs currently? Do you write them? Like, what is the process like today?
Okay, so I have a few different processes, but like my main one is that I'll listen to a beat, and then as I'm listening to the beat, I'll either feel it to where I'm already coming up with ideas, or I'll just have to listen to it a little while. But for the times where I listen to it and then I feel it automatically, that's when I'm freestyling the beat or the hook, and then it's like I write it down in that moment if it's really good, because I don't want to lose it, and I already have like the sort of melody. If I don't have words, I'll have a melody. I follow it. And then I'll fill the words in later.
Gotcha.
Just so that I could keep the focus on that part of the song that's really speaking to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the other stuff I'll fill in later.
So it's almost like a reference for yourself. Like,
yeah.
That's
definitely.
Oh, that's hard. And I saw on your Instagram you performing quite a few times. Could you speak on like what it's like performing, and tell us about some of the places that you performed and how those shows went?
Okay, so for starters, I grew up in a church setting, so I'm kind of familiar with performing in front of people, like being in the choir at a young age, and even in band recitals at a young age in middle school. So I kind of had that crowd knowledge of how things will go if things sound good or if they don't. So it still kind of gave you that sense of nervousness. But at the end of the day, because I already had that and did that before, it made it easier. So by the time I did my first show in December of 2023, when I performed that show, I was so surprised by the amount of crowd interaction I was getting. That was the biggest, you know what I mean, like, whoa. Because people were repeating my lyrics, they were singing the songs with me, and the times that I held out the mic and didn't say anything, they were saying it. And it took me off guard because, you know, I didn't really know how many people were truly listening to my music out here. I knew when people would tell me, oh yeah, I've heard it, but I don't know how many people truly listened to it to the point where they could recite it. So that was a big surprise for me. It was a great experience.
I feel like performing, it shows you exactly that, like who's truly supporting, and it's almost like a damn, okay, this is why I do this. Like Hey, and to anyone who's watching this and is nervous about their first performance or anything, just remember, go all out like you were performing for yourself. Because I went over it for myself in the garage so many times, as loud as I could, just, you know what I mean, going over my songs, just to get those jitters down. So that's a piece of advice that I would leave. And that was your first performance?
Yeah, that was like my first performance of my own music that I made.
Got you.
Crazy experience too.
Man, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's sick, man. And have you performed since then?
Yeah, I had a few shows with the same people, and there was a time that I was supposed to go out there for a show, but things came up. But there is a show that's coming out this December, so I'm gonna be a part of that one out here.
Be on the lookout.
Yeah, be on the lookout. It's gonna be amazing. The venue is gonna be nice. We're gonna have, you know, food vendors, drinks, all that good stuff. But yeah, so I'm trying to look for more performances, and I've seen online that they have events. So I've been trying to contact them to get in those events. No one's hit me back yet, but you know, I'm still on the lookout.
Yeah, no, it's a process.
Yeah, of course.
It's a marathon, you know? And I wanted to ask about like current things that you have going on, rather it be songs, a project that you're working on, like what's currently going on right now that you've been working on, or that is out.
Okay, so I am currently I'm focusing on trying to create a group of individuals who have a passion for any kind of art, whether it's music, whether it's film, whether it's photography and all that. And I kind of want to be that shoulder that they could lean on, or be that big brother that can help them get to where they need to be. Because I mean, now I've been releasing music officially since 2022 or 2023, January actually.
Hell yeah!
And it's when
you say that means like on all the major
on all streaming platforms. I decided, and this is my mindset now from back in high school. I decided, you know what? I want people to take me more seriously as I take myself. And so instead of just continuing posting on SoundCloud or YouTube for free, I'm gonna actually distribute and post it on different platforms, actual social platforms. And so I've been doing that for a while, and hit worldwide. Numbers may not be as high as I would like them to be, but the fact that I have people from across the world listening to my music, it just feels so good. And it's like with that, when I make new music, I always try to think about what the public would think based off of what they're already like. You know what I mean? Because I put out so many different genres that I could sit there and see the results of each genre. Oh, people like this one a little bit more than this one. Let me focus on this. And so that's what got me into now my album. I have an album coming out next year that was supposed to be released this year for summer. But, things came up again. And then so I decided to push it for next year. And I'm thinking of an early release. Okay. Like spring maybe.
Do you have a name for the project?
Yeah, the name for the project, it was originally Gol D Vibes, but I think I changed it to, well, let me see, because actually
it's an exclusive right here, live from the Grove.
Yeah, facts. Like I made my own album work too. Okay. Like the cover art, which I'm about to show you, like all these cover arts and stuff.
Oh no, that's hard.
Yeah, but it's now called the Life of the Party album.
Okay.
Which is also the very first song on the album. And it was the very first pop song that I made. The entire album is like hyper pop, and then like acoustic guitar.
Okay.
Alternative. That's so it's hard. Like it's something to get the crowd moving. I decided to make this one my first genre for my album because I wanted this vibe to be back. I used to love listening to Flo Rida, and when Usher and them were working on hyper pop beats and then the EDM, I loved that era. A lot of people say they didn't like the era, but I loved it because it really spoke to me. I'm a dancer, I'm a singer, I'm a rapper, I do it all. So it's like it really speaks to me the most. So that's why I decided to start with that album. Yeah. And it has about 11 or 12 projects on it.
Okay,
11 or 12.
That's sick. That's dope because I do remember growing up and like the Black Eyed Peas, they came out with the album The End, right? And I felt like I was like, oh, this is so ill. Like it is hip hop and it kind of has those elements of like EDM.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, and it's dope because that's something that not a lot of people are currently doing or sound, but there's still like people with an appetite for that.
Yeah, sound. That's right.
So that's ill.
I was one of those people with an appetite for it.
Yeah, and you're like, who the fuck's making this? I might as well.
Yeah.
When you performed, did that change the way that you made music? Did you start making music for performances? You understand what I'm saying?
And I'm very glad you asked that because it did in a way. Because before, after the performance, I was just going off of the performance high. And I was like, oh, I got to make more songs. So I was still basically doing the same thing. But the more I was working on those new songs, I was like, this would sound good if a crowd was saying it, or this would sound good if it was able to have crowd participation. So then it started easing into that, which led to my album. It's
this album is meant to be performed.
Yeah, meant to be performed, meant to be meant to be performed with a group of like-minded people and individuals in a setting with them. You know what I mean? I want people that like to party, that like to jump, that like to dance, that don't really care what other people think about them or what they do. Because at the end of the day, you've been to the club and you see the person that's standing over there, they start dancing, you're like, oh, I didn't know you had that in you.
Yeah.
And you start getting hyped because that's just natural, genuine energy. But I feel like a lot of times there's not much of that in the world. So people start to, try to push back from it.
Yeah, just be sitting in the club.
Yeah, but I want people to be able to dance. I want to force them to move. Yeah. Even if it was in the club, even if it was someone who has no rhythm, they would sit there, tap their feet. That's what I want. That's my goal for this album.
Nah, man, congratulations on that.
Appreciate it.
Are there any records that are going to be on the album that are already out, like some singles that you've already released for the project?
There was a single that I wanted to put on the album. It is called San Diego Bay. It was basically one of my first, after Life of the Party, it was one of my first alternative style type beats. Okay. With that type of music. And then I decided ultimately to release that one for summer because, for one, I knew the album wasn't going to be released this year. So I was like, okay, let me give them something to look forward to, or just introduce a new sound that they'll know to look for when in the future. Yeah. Because when the album does come out, it will be just a, whoa, I didn't know he does this. Yeah. But because I let go of that one song and released it early, they get like a little sample of what I could do. Yeah. So now they're like, oh, I kind of want some more of that. And then boom, the album comes. They're like, oh, he made a lot more of that. Yeah. So
14 tracks of that.
yeah, right.
Nah, that's what's up, man. I was gonna ask, as far as you've been doing this for a while, I know that it does get discouraging being a musician
right
for a long time. What has kept you going this long? Like, why haven't you quit?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because back then when I was first releasing in high school, my goal was to get rich and famous. That's all people wanted to. Yeah. And you know what I mean? In the end, it didn't work out. I didn't get the views that I wanted. I wasn't getting the money that I wanted. And so, you know what I mean? I ended up joining the army, yada, yada. In the army, I met a group of people who also had that passion for music. And so we were making music in the barracks. And as we were making music, other people in those barracks were singing our songs when we were going toe to line in the formations and stuff. They were singing our songs while we were down there, stuff like that, singing it and playing it all throughout the barracks. We sort of got hype off of it, and then ultimately left the army to pursue that. And then even doing that, it still didn't work. Yeah. And then so I still kept making music and writing, even though I was working jobs. But one day I asked myself, why am I still writing and making songs? Like, why am I still just doing it? And then something hit me. It was like, because that's the passion you have for it. Yeah. And then that's when I was rewatching the Karate Kid movie, and Mr. Miyagi said the wise words: "Men who work for money become less successful than men who work for passion." Yeah. And then so that spoke volumes to me, because I was like, that's why I didn't give up. That's why I continue to do it even when I did get discouraged, even now, because I just have a genuine passion for it. I want people to hear my music. I don't care if it gets the plays that I originally wanted it to, so long as people hear it and they think, you know what, I really like this. Yeah. This in some way is helping me through a point in my life that I'm feeling down or feeling this way. You know what I mean? Especially with the hyper pop beats. Yeah. It makes me feel good. So I'm thinking, how many other people is it going to replicate that same feeling to? Yeah. But that's ultimately why I continue to do it, even though I feel discouraged sometimes. Yeah. Just remembering why I do it, the passion I have for it.
That's beautiful, man.
I always loved music since I was young. And then so music is never going to leave me. The ideas in my head are never going to leave me. So what am I going to do? Either let them sit there, or I'm going to
get them out.
Get them out.
Yeah, no, I love that, man.
Yeah.
I ask everyone that question, because it's always interesting to hear. And you never know who's watching the podcast, and they
Right.
might just be starting off and going through those same things.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, okay.
Exactly.
It's good to know you're not alone in this shit. Another question I'd like to ask too is, and it doesn't have to be anyone that necessarily influenced your sound, but like any musical influences or people that you favorite artists kind of thing. I always think that's interesting as well.
I'll drop a top 3 that I now believe are my biggest influences. For one, Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
His drive to inspire change through his music is why I write about the positive things that I write about and the changes that I write about. Flo Rida, like as I told you before, his sound, it just makes you move. It gets you jumping. It gets you moving. Even when you're feeling down, even when you're feeling a certain way, just the beat alone makes you move. So that's why I work with those hyper pop beats. And that's another influence. And then the third influence I would say is, honestly, it's just music in general. I gotta leave it at music in general because I am a multi-genre artist. So there's a lot of artists that I can't necessarily name that has inspired something that I've done before. Like the philosophy of Bruce Lee, take what works and what doesn't. He studied different martial arts. It's like that with music. I've listened to so much music that I just know how to go about dropping a verse or a chorus on that certain genre. It's crazy.
Nah, that's sick, and it's true too, because subconsciously we pull from everything.
Yeah,
we've heard.
Right.
From
Especially the things that we love and that sticks with us most.
Yeah. Now, my next question was gonna be, what do you see for your future, right? So, one, what do you have planned for the future, and then also, like, what's the end goal for all of this? If everything goes your way, your vision, you see it, what does that look like?
My number one goal is to change or influence the world through my music. And that's probably one of the biggest pipe dreams that people could have.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's a goal of mine. You hear nowadays kids don't really have music that they could listen to. All the time you go to parties and there's kids at those parties, and then you're hearing all this, hardcore shit. All these hardcore songs, but you're not hearing any pop songs or any of this. And so it's like I basically try to bring all that back. Anything that I feel could change or inspire people, then I'll bring that back.
Okay.
Because it changed and inspired me. And it's like my end goal is to create that group that I was talking about. I plan on calling it the Crooniverse, like you feel me? But like my end goal is to basically to run that as not necessarily a label per se, but just like a connection agency.
Okay.
Like somewhere where someone who needs a boost or a hand can go and talk to people who have dealt with that or experienced that, consultations or anything that could just help out the younger generations who actually have a passion for music, rather than the ones that are just trying to get rich and, just put stuff out there.
Yeah.
I want more of that. I want more artists with the same mindset as me to inspire or influence the world through our music.
Push it forward.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. And this is the part of the podcast where I pass it off to you, because I might have questions that I had, and you may have something else on your mind that you didn't think about saying. So this is, we always switch it to the artist name section. So it's the Gol D Rich section.
Right.
You pretty much, you talk to the camera. Any words that you've been wanting to say or any final words, go ahead and shoot that right now. I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, so basically, if there is anyone out there that needs kind of that guidance or that big brotherly love in this new journey that they're starting, the Crooniverse, we're on Instagram and all that. we're small right now, but that's what makes us even better, because when you start from the bottom and you grow, that's the people you know you can trust the most. And that's another thing, surrounding yourself with certain people that have the same drive as you and the same passion as you is key, is major key, because at the end of the day, you can constantly talk about all the achievements that you're making, but to some people who don't have those same, drive or the same passion, it'll just sound like bragging, or it'll sound like rubbing it in their face. Yeah. And it's like, that's why you always want to surround yourself with genuine people, and you always want to have a true passion for whatever you're trying to chase after. Mm-hmm. You never want to go into it with one specific want from it, like if it's money or if it's this or that. You want to basically grow and elevate yourself, mm-hmm. as well as whatever you're trying to promote. And that's basically what I gotta say. I mean, overall, I've been doing this for a while, like 2 years now, almost 3 years, and honestly, it's not what I expected at all, and it's not what I thought I would be back in the past, but it has showed me and taught me a lot about the way the music industry works, the way social media and promotion works, the way crowd and audience engagement works. Yeah. You know what I mean?
A lot of learning.
It's a lot of learning, and I feel like that's probably the best experience that I've got from my journey, mm-hmm. is just the learning from it. It got to a point where I ended up working on getting my own equipment. Yeah. Well, it was given to me by my auntie. Thank you, auntie. Shout out,
auntie.
But it was given to me, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, you want it? Go take it." And then I ended up getting the other stuff that I needed to connect it all, and I started making my own beats on BandLabs, yeah. which is a great software, and that's where I've made some of my recent projects and my album. I recorded it all on there. Of course, I do plan on taking it to, get it like that to a studio. But I feel like this is a little tip. I feel like having that rough draft, listening to it so much that you could already know what you want to change or what not, and then taking it to the studio for what you know you want it to sound like. It's major key. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You'll feel so much better in the studio as you're going over it, because you're like, oh, I already know how I want to do it. Yeah, you're prepared. Always stay prepared. But overall, that's pretty much what I got to say.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you for coming through, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Live from the Grove.
Shout out live from the Grove.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dope.